So you know, feel free.
Some stuff. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a special class today. We have Chase Pennington with Access Home Closing. He's here today to go over some of the technology that's available to everyone. And then also I'm going to touch on how to utilize your MyDesk and the Northwest MLS to pull up your past buyer sales. If you remember at the beginning of the month, I did a class on the home buyer anniversaries, right? That's the thing that brokers are terrible about. In fact, we talked about it at the sales meeting, the fact that 90% you guys remember? What percent of clients said they would use you again? Remember how high it is? The last survey, 2022. Oh, it's 89%.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 89% said that they would use you again, but then what percent only do? 12%. So 12 and 89 is the last surveys from the 2022 National Association of Realtors buyer survey. So it tells you there's a big gap. And if you guys know the fact that your clients forget your name, they forget your name in 6 months. They cannot remember your name after 6 months of not seeing you, not talking to you, because day to day, when you're in the transaction, you're always talking to them, right? You're constantly in contact. When you're dealing with the transaction, the communication's the number one most important thing, right? For a healthy contract to work, or a healthy deal, healthy relationship, it has to have communication. So if you're not communicating with that client within at least the 6 months, you're in trouble. That means they're forgetting you. They can't refer you other people. And we know by countless sessions of coaching and whether it be Tom Ferry, Brian Buffini, or the Core, all of those coaching programs lean on contacting your database, right? That's the thing that you pay for. It's like they're going to tell you, you got to reach out to your database so many times a year. Realistically, if you're not talking to your people at least twice a year, you're in trouble. Your business is in trouble. You're pretty much letting your clients pretty much refer to Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com to be the experts. That's what happens. And we know that Zillow got so big because of the Zestimate, right? Realtors were constantly shouting and screaming in the streets like, the number's so far off, right? But yet, what was Zillow doing the whole time?
Getting in front of eyeballs.
Yeah. It wasn't about the actual accuracy of the evaluation at all. And they knew it. They didn't care. They became the place to go to find out, how much is my home worth? And everybody wants to know how much their home is worth. How much equity do they have? What can they do with their equity, right? That's the reason that Zillow got so big. So you have to, no matter what, stay in front of your contacts. You have to constantly contact them. So, all right, I'm off my high horse. I know it takes a while. Let me share my screen. But I'm going to show you a way to pull up your past sales for the people who are new. If you don't want to basically have to do this and make this mistake from the beginning of your career, then do this from the very beginning and you won't have to worry. And that's going to be filling in and putting everybody you know into your database. And if you can put in their home purchase anniversaries, you can look this up by public record, and also their birthdays. Can you at least do that? And then now you've got stuff to talk about. All right, so how you're going to do this is you can go up to your search, go general. And you're gonna mark the solds. You're gonna clear out the date range. We want no date range. You're gonna select, if this is not all selected, you wanna make sure you got on market and off market sales. Okay, and then residential and condominiums, select them both. And then go ahead and put in your lag number. Okay, from there, you can search. Put it in the order of the newest to oldest or oldest to newest, doesn't really matter. You can pick and choose how you want to sort it. Most brokers, since they haven't contacted their people in a long time, they will probably go from the newest to the oldest. Okay, you're going to select all of these. And then you're going to go down to export. So you're going to export these. And we are doing the sold and stats. Choose sold and stats, hit export. This puts it into an Excel file. Trust me on this, you guys won't see the screen because it's switching programs, but it basically, I can show you. It's going to go into an Excel and it puts them all into the Excel. So you don't have to worry about, oh man, how do I go, get every one of my past sales and enter them, doing them one at a time. This is a super fast way to do it. If anybody has, it's so weird, the Northwest MLS database, if you've been in the business for a long time, sometimes they will not have your earlier sales. Like I've been in since 2000 and May 10th, 2000. And it doesn't have any of my sales before 2008. But yet if I searched the single property one at a time, it's in there. It's so weird. I don't know why it does that.
Owner information.
Huh?
Does it do owner information too?
Oh, in this? Yeah, it should do. Yeah, owners. So this is the previous sale. Who was the seller? But the key is you're going to do this. You're going to save the file and name it your name, right? So I would do file, save as, and browse to wherever you're going to save it. And I would actually do solds and stats and do dash and then put your name. Okay, so save it. Now you're going to take that file and you're going to hand it over to Mr. Chase.
To me.
And with that, I will stop sharing.
Well, a question for you, you said it only goes back to 2008.
Well, for me, it depends on your database. It's weird.
Also, I can't go back possibly.
Yeah, you can. Huh?
You make me a host.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna hand this over. Mr. Chase can.
All right, well, hi, everyone. I am Chase Pennington with Access Home Closing. We are the title and escrow company partnered with John L. Scott. So if I haven't met you yet, nice to meet you. If I have, good to see you again. So what Eric showed is exporting your past clients. You haven't touched them since 2009 when you first got into the business. You didn't know about all this connectivity stuff, but you represented them in the past and you did a really good job. So now we need to, atone for our past mistakes and start connecting with these people. But I don't have their contact information, or they may have moved a couple times since then. I just know that I'd like to reconnect with those people. So let's export that database, and maybe you don't have that database from the MLS. Maybe it's from my desk or wherever it came from, your past job, right? Little League, whatever it is. We can still use these tools to freshen up our database and give it a new look. So bear with me here. Here's our cool site. Can everyone see this? It is accesshometools.com. Different from accesshomeclosing.com. And this is our suite of tools for connectivity, lead generation, getting those databases scrubbed and updated. I can help you with this. I'm very good at this tool, so don't feel like you need to learn a whole new tool. That's what I'm here for. But if you were to work with me and do this, we can upload that farm or that list that you just got from the MLS, and we'll put it into, hold on, first day on Zoom. We'll put it into a template. So the template that we need looks just like this. All we need is the site address or the parcel number and the zip code. So Eric sent me his stuff earlier. We filled in the template. All he did was give me the parcel number and the zip code, and if there were units available, we filled in the unit. So with just this information, watch what we can get. It's quite cool. We uploaded the file into here. It scrubbed it behind the scenes. And what did it take, Eric? 3 to 5 minutes at most. And we have uploaded it onto our website, and look at what we can get. So we've got all the dots over here on the map correspond with these properties on the spreadsheet. And this is basically Eric's history, all of his past transactions. So just like he did in the MLS, let's sort it we'll go from newest to oldest. And you can see when this was purchased and now who the current owner is. So where Eric was showing who the seller was on that particular transaction, this is who currently owns the property. So like I was saying, if those people have sold a couple times, we won't show their old, the old homeowner of the property. This is going to be who currently owns the property, when they purchased it and what they purchased it for. All really helpful information when we want to reconnect with these people. Show you some property information, and currently is the home being occupied by the owner, or is it being rented out? This is also something to know if you're going to contact someone that you haven't talked to in quite a while. Maybe things have changed. They now rent the home out. That's helpful to know before we start that conversation with these people. So everything that I've shown you is completely free of charge. So you can upload that database. You can re-export it out into a really cool spreadsheet that gives you more information than the MLS gave you. Because remember, the MLS just gave you a snapshot back from 2011, 2015. It's maybe out of date at the moment. So it's got a bunch of columns here. I've highlighted the important stuff in yellow. We've got the site address, the information about the home, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, who the owners are, and is it being owner occupied, yes or no. Further from that, we've got more information that I will continue highlighting. I'll call this green because green is money. So when did they purchase the house? What did they purchase it for? Come over here, we've got the mailing address. So if that home is being rented out and we're sending postcards out, let's send it to where the owner actually receives their mail. They may own a condo in downtown Tacoma, but they live in, Spanaway, or vice versa, whatever it is. It's important to get that postcard to where they will actually view it. And then over here, we've got assessed value. As we know, that's just a guess. What a great opportunity for you to do a down and dirty quick CMA, present it to these people who you haven't talked to in a while. Just wanted to catch up with you, whatever you want to use with your wordage, and let you know what's going on in your neighborhood with your specific situation, so on and so forth. So you may be saying, I wanted to send emails and I wanted to make phone calls and send text messages. Well, I'm glad you asked. So if you don't have these people's contact information, their phone number or their email address, we can very easily get that information using our tools. So we can one by one get that contact information. So you don't have Sean's phone number or email address. All we do is click that blue gear, phone and email lookup. It's 5 cents for a phone number, 7 cents for an email address. Add those two together, you get 12 cents. And that's all it's going to take. I will just do that right here, right now. Let's see if there is an email or a phone number for that contact. Jeopardy music, And here we go. So there was an email, there was no phone. So I was only charged 7 cents for that. I got that email right away. The property owner's name is Sean Hazlitt. The email address is shazlitt@gmail.com. I think that is pretty accurate. And as a side note, this is publicly recorded information. So it's only as good as the information that the homeowner puts in, right? So we're not taking it from their Facebook profile or LinkedIn or anything like that. It's what they've actually recorded on the contract with the county. So it should be pretty dang accurate. So we can add Sean, who lives in the DuPont neighborhood, to our neighborhood campaigns in My Desk, right? Now Sean is getting so much better pieces of information, better value than he can get from Zillow, which, as we all know, only drills down to the zip code. So if you live in a zip code that's full of condos, there's also a country club in there, there's single family homes, there's a bunch of starter homes. Does that zip code really tell you what's going on with your personal situation? No, it does not. So let's get drilled down hyper local, only talk to people, at the neighborhood level or in the half-mile level, as opposed to, the city of Puyallup as a whole. All right, if you don't want to do click by click, we can do the entire list. We'll get their premier data, come over to phones and emails. Again, phones are 5 cents a piece, emails are 7 cents a piece. So for that entire farm that Eric hasn't talked to in however many years, he has no contact information. For less than $8, he's getting all of their phones and emails, prettying up his farm, making it something that he can actually use. He can flip that right into My Desk, and now he's automatically dripping out those campaigns. What is it? Every happy holiday, every month when Lennox sends out his report, that's at least, 2 touches a month. And then add your own happy cupcake day or happy donut day, whatever it is, right? It really doesn't matter how we get our foot in the door, as long as we do get our foot in the door and start those conversations with people. Eric was saying we have to do at least 2 touches per year. Hey, how about those Mariners? And then also, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. That's the least we can do. And that's once every 6 months. There's a lot better stuff that we can do, real estate specific, right? Takes about 5 minutes to do a CMA for someone that you know and love. Do that, pre-package that in a nice little email, print it out, send a letter, whatever it is. It's all really simple to do. So we've added those phones and emails onto the database here. We can export that database a number of different ways. We've got a nice little PDF, which is kind of a compact, you've seen something similar on the MLS. You want to make some phone calls or, just send out some postcards or whatever, print this out, cross it off with a red pen, take some notes, whatever it is. It's kind of a on paper CRM. We can export to that list that I was saying. It'll have those phones and emails on it. Eric said, ooh, Facebook. You can, if I have phones and emails, you can export to Facebook. It gives you their name and their email address. You can upload that to Facebook. And if an Eric Schull with that email address has created a Facebook account, when you do a John L. Scott Boost ad, the first person that ad is going to be served to is the people that are on your database. Or that could be the 300 people that are living close by to your listing. You don't know them, you've never met them, but you went on our system and you got their email addresses. They say, holy cow, how did Eric know that I live close to this open house? I've always wanted to see that house on the corner. So let's go check it out. He's got an open house and it's open to the neighbors from 12 to 1. How did he know that I live right next to it? It's because we're really creepy as real estate agents. We use that Facebook information, right? It's there for us, so let's do it. So Eric, have I touched on everything from, getting a database up into here and scrubbing it and getting it back out?
I think so.
I
Okay,
have a question, Chase.
Tony's got a question.
What happens, the phone number or the email, you need to go deeper than that? Maybe the phone number's been disconnected or changed or.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a somewhat common issue. Those phone numbers could be disconnected, those emails could be out of use. We will tell you what type of phone number it is, whether it's a landline, a VoIP, which is kind of a business phone, or the mobile phone. So I would say that most of those are going to be mobile phones, especially those newer recorded properties.
Oh, yeah.
Those older recorded properties that haven't sold in 25, 30 years, you're probably going to get like a GTE landline, right? There's nothing we can really do about that. But with the address, with the phone number, with the email, and then, if you wanted to get savvy and go onto Facebook, those are kind of 4 different ways that we could possibly get back into those people's lives. Meet with me, I can help you look up those owners' names. So Bonnie Acres caught my eye. Maybe they've moved away. They live in Eastern Washington now, and they just kind of dropped off the face of the planet. That kind of happens, right? We can do a property search by putting in their first and last name, and we'll tell you where they currently live. So if you've been estranged from some clients that walked out of your life and you'd like to get them back, we can find out where they live. So there's all sorts of different ways that we can do that. Awesome. Phone numbers are found on about 75% of the list and emails on about 35% of the list. So, you know, we're not going to be able to find 100% of phones and emails for your clients, but you're only going to pay for what you receive. So I think Eric's projection was $8. That's going to go down quite a bit. He's only going to pay $5 and something cents for however many actually come into his database. Okay.
It's worth it. Can you search by languages or anything that people?
Great question. I'm gonna touch on that in a second. We can't search by languages. You can't search by any socio-demographic stuff. So, yeah, great question. I think you knew the answer to that.
I
So
know.
we can't search by, you know, how much money people make, what kind of job they have, how old they are, what religion they are. But we can use the information that we have and we can be a little, you know, I'll say creepy. There's a better word out there on the tip of my tongue, but
Creative.
we can be creative. There we go. We can be creative with it. So I'll touch on that in a second. Did you have anything to add before I get into my PowerPoint?
No, I think, yeah, you covered it all.
Okay, I'm gonna kill you guys by PowerPoint, but it'll be interactive and fun. So access home closing. Did you all know that there are 3 million US households making over $150,000 and they are still renting? That seems like a lot of money. Maybe in yesteryear, it's not as much as it used to be, but that's still enough money for people to explore, you know, owning a home with a John L. Scott agent. So let's get into contact with these people. In all of Kent, there are 6,800 homes being rented out. Over 2,500 of those homes have their entire mortgage paid off. So there's 2,500 homes in Kent with no mortgage that are renting that out. They are making free money, hand over fist, every single month.
Wow.
$2,000 straight into their pocket, right? I mean, minus the property manager and the sales or the property taxes and all that, right? But none of that goes towards PMI. None of that goes towards the mortgage.
That's not apartments, so that's how.
That's not apartments. Those are single family homes and condos only. Pretty crazy, right?
Mhm.
Of those 2,500 homes that are being rented out, only 201 of those have an assessed value greater than 750. Or you can say there are 201 people renting out a very, very expensive home in Kent. For all 201 of those people, on both sides of the coin, so the landlord and the renter, $36 to contact all of those people.
Oh,
Send a postcard to those people who, I don't want to say they're wasting money by renting, but they're probably in a pretty good economic situation. They're not renting out a $750,000 home for cheap, right?
yeah.
That's pretty expensive. So send them a postcard. Kent's next homeowner. Would you like to stop paying someone else's mortgage and start paying your own? Did you know that if we played this out over 5 years, if you put 10,000 down today, you could end up with X amount of equity in the next 5, so on and so forth, right? You guys are the experts. These are the people who we want to have conversations with. And then those 201 landlords, they own a home free and clear. It's worth over $750,000. They already have a renter in there. You know, you're doing a really good job. Are you sure you want to continue being a landlord? I could sell this place. We could net you how much? Or you want to get another home under your belt? We could get you another condo. I've got one off market for 400,000. Sell it to you right away. You could get a renter in there in less than 2 weeks, right? And then boom, there we go. We're off gaining more equity for your portfolio.
That's awesome.
Pretty easy, right?
Mhm.
So what I wanted to basically drill down is we started at 6,800. We got down to 201 with a couple stops along the way. We don't need to contact the entire city when we have the data available to get to those people who we want to contact. So on the other side, in all of Kent, there are 28,000 owner occupied homes. That's way too many homes to contact. Just pick up the phone book and start calling, right? 5,700 of those have their entire mortgage paid off. Of those 5,700, 178 are worth more than $1 million. 178 homes, people live in them. They're worth over $1 million. They could either buy a new place, take some of that equity out, buy that waterfront vacation home, whatever it is. They have the wherewithal to do whatever they want to do. Maybe they just don't realize that they can do that. They haven't had an advocate walk them through all of their options like you guys could. Whoops, 125 of those 178. So you asked about, can we search by age or any of that? No, we cannot, but we can kind of reverse engineer those situations.
Ooh.
So 125 of those 178 are in 2+ stories and they've lived there for 20+ years. So why do we want to contact, those elderly folks? Probably because they have a ton of equity and they're in too big of a house.
Mhm.
So there's 125 people that have way too much equity. They have way too much house. $23. Let's contact those people. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Here, I like to show this. These are layups. Quit smoking your layups. Have some easy conversations, get some easy buckets and get that momentum started. All right. Okay, so let's do another situation. In all of Kent and Renton, there are 850 homes worth over $1.5 million. 253 of those 850 have their entire mortgage paid off. 79 of those are being rented out. Could you imagine renting a $1.5 million house? Let's talk to those people. They need to be owning their own home.
Wow.
Okay. 32 of those 253 people have owned the home for 20+ years and 2+ stories.
Oh, my God.
You didn't want to make 253 phone calls. You can make 32. I promise you. These are the people who we need to be talking to.
Wow.
In all of Auburn, 830, this is the same story. It's always going to be the same kind of breakdown. 830 homes worth over $1 million. 286 of those have their entire mortgage paid off. 109 of those are being rented out. $109 million homes in Auburn are being rented out. 46 of those 286 have lived there for 20+ years, 2+ stories. Okay. We can use the data to our advantage and we can contact these people. If you only wanted to send postcards, you said, I'm never going to do phone calls. I'm never going to do emails. I just want to send mailers. We can get up to 2,000 or no, it's 5,000 properties for only $2 total. So if you wanted to back it up and only contact all the homes in Auburn, get 830 names, addresses, when they bought, how much they bought for, where their mailing address is, all that stuff that I showed in the spreadsheet, $2. So the cost is associated with your bear printing, getting with your marketing team, printing out those flyers, right? It's a no-brainer. Let's use the data to whittle that down to who we actually want to talk to. So there's a lot of people out there. I think we can bucket them into 3 different buckets. And the kind of, theme here is that we're focused on equity. So the pink square, they own the home free and clear. I want to talk to those people. The gold one, they are currently in a mortgage, but they have more than 50% of equity. They've done a really good job. They're over halfway done with their story. I want to talk to those people. I still want to talk to this purple group. They have a mortgage home, but they have less than 50% of equity. So if I'm going to contact a list of 1,000 people, I want to make it a little easier on myself and maybe only reach out to those 2/3 that are in a really good situation, right? The data's all there. Why wouldn't we use that to make it easier on ourselves? So let's get rid of that purple group. Talk to those people with 0% equity or 50 or better. Here's some neighborhoods. If you can't see it, just kind of squint or close your eyes and imagine neighborhoods around Kent. And I'll show you those stats in a second. We can contact entire neighborhoods. If you just want to blanket a neighborhood, maybe you live in one of these neighborhoods, you want to be the advocate, the go-to person for that specific neighborhood. So I picked the top 12 neighborhoods. The average sales price is over $750,000, 25+ homes in that neighborhood. So it's not just a quiet little cul-de-sac, in the middle of the woods. These are real neighborhoods, and they have a better than a 4% turnover rate. Turnover rate is the percentage of homes that sold in the last 12 months. So in those top neighborhoods that I dialed up the stats to what I wanted, there's 551 homes that are owner occupied, and they've lived there for 5+ years. I want to make sure that they've gained a lot of equity. They've kind of rode the COVID wave, and now maybe it's time for them to move on. 215 of those 551 have over 75% of their mortgage paid off. They were already in those neighborhoods that were well trafficked, but now we're only focusing on those people that have a ton of equity. 129 of those people have 0 mortgage. I love those neighborhoods already. What I love even more is those people that have no mortgage in those neighborhoods. Let's contact those people. Let's start conversations instead of asking questions, which I guess it's in a form of a question, but it's more starting a conversation. This is a much better postcard than what we typically get, Hey, I'm Jim with John L. Scott. I'd love to sell your home and kick you out of the neighborhood. We've never met, but give me a call. I'll sell your home. As opposed to, did you know 7.8 of your neighborhoods sold their home last year at an average price of $600,000? And they're thinking, wow, I saw a lot of signs. I didn't really realize that was 8% of my neighborhood. And I definitely didn't realize that was an average price of $605,000. You know, when we bought that place 8 years ago, Eric, did you ever think that it would get up to $600,000?
I didn't.
Absolutely not. So let's give them a call. What could you do with your hard-earned equity to jumpstart your next chapter in life? We know that they have equity. They have a ton of equity. The numbers say it, they show it. So what could you do to start that next chapter in life? And we do care what their answer is, but it doesn't really matter. Whether it's stay there and continue building it, well, you've kind of given them a lot of value. They can refer you on to their friends. Maybe they want to keep the house, they want to rent it out, they want to buy a new condo down on Ruston Point. Well, we can help you do that as well. I want to leave the state. I want to go to North Carolina. Well, did you know that we're local, we're global, right? With Leading RE. We can get you hooked up with a nice real estate agent over there. It doesn't matter what they say back to us. They're in a great situation and we can handle that situation.
Do you guys remember what the National Association of Realtors 2022 survey said for the average time in a home now? How long are people staying in homes? It went up.
It went up.
Yeah, it was 8. It's 10. Yeah, it's 10 years. So now that you know that, use that for part of the search in your data. Who's been in their home maybe 9 years? You don't go to 10 and then they're already sold.
That's right.
Go to the 9, like, wow, they might be thinking about it. So
That's right.
might be something you can use for your search.
So there's many different ways that we can connect. Got postcards, we've talked about that. Phone calls or text, we've talked about that. You know, you don't want to make phone calls, you're afraid of talking on the phone. That's fine. What else can your smartphone do? It can send text messages, and those are gold. I get text messages all the time, except we typically get them from car dealerships or, you know, other people that we don't want to talk to, magazine subscription type stuff. But if you had an open house and you got all the phone numbers for, you know, the 50 closest neighbors, and you texted them and you said, I know that we haven't talked before, but hey, here's a link to my listing. I'm actually having a special open house for the nearby neighbors from noon to 1. I'd love if you could stop by. We could, you know, connect and, you know, start a conversation before the rush gets here, whatever the early neighbor script is that you'd like to use. Those text messages are great. They don't need to answer the phone. You don't get a voicemail. They can just like it. They can throw you an emoji back, or they can start a full-fledged conversation. We have to kind of change the way that we contact people in this day and age. My desk has Market Insights. Eric's a pro at Market Insights and would love to talk to you about that. How do we turn that email address into something a lot more valuable than just sending an email, right? Sign them up on Market Insights, neighborhood campaigns. As I was going back to that zip code conversation, you know, if they live in Kennydale or somewhere like the Fairwood Country Club or something, that's a lot different than Renton as a whole, Kent as a whole. Let's focus in on that specific neighborhood and get them their special data that they deserve. Buy side, I think it was last year, John L. Scott did 2.5 billion or something like that with a B sales volume due to buy side. Highly underutilized. It could be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Let's plug those people into buy side. It's just low hanging fruit, right? Let's use that data to our advantage. And then if you want to go old school, go door knocking. Let's get an entire condo complex that meets our numbers, right? Park the car once, carry around a bunch of flyers and seed packets, grow wild like your equity, something corny, right? Something just dumb like that. I was talking to a broker before the class started. They hand out scratch offs that are good for, I think, $2 or $3, $5 at 7-Eleven, whatever it is. It's not one of those car dealership scratch offs where, you know, everyone wins and you got to take it to the car dealership to claim your prize. No, here's a $2 coupon at 7-Eleven. Go get a slushie. It's hot out, whatever it is. Just do something like that. And they're going to remember you in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months when they choose to do something about it. Okay. If you remember one thing, it's a URL, it's bookwithchase.com. I am Chase. You want to book a meeting with me, you go to bookwithchase.com, or you can call me, text me, whatever works. I am happy to drill down even further, customize this stuff to your business, your personality, whatever you will actually do. Let's do it together. That's what we're here for at Access Home Closing.
Awesome.
I think the name of the class was about preliminary title. Should we talk about
Yeah.
that real quick?
That's the part. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so we are a title and escrow company. We have a lot of really cool tools that are obviously really fun that can help boost your business. Once you use these and connect with those next sellers, you've got a listing on your hands and you say, holy crap, what do I do now? Glad you asked. You create your account with Access Home Closing. We are partnered with John L. Scott. That means that we have a cool spot on my desk here. Click this blue tile and it'll jump you into a sign up page, or it'll just jump you straight into your account if you already have one. Nice and simple and secure, very easy for you. Click order reports up at the top here, and this is how we order those pre-listing reports.
Amazing.
We recommend that you do this before you even go on the listing presentation, and the reason for that is when you do this pre-listing report, we're going to find out if there are any red flags on the property. Are there any easement issues or ownership issues? You know,
Or lean.
or liens. We talk about forgeries a lot. Forgeries don't really have to be this big criminal thing. It could be a John Senior and a John Junior. And maybe they don't have that very clear on the title, right? That could be considered a forgery. So let's just be sure we clear all of that stuff up. Is it an estate sale? You know, who's actually on the title? So on and so forth. Really simple for us to do, really complicated for you to do. So as soon as you can get us that information, the better. You can be armed with that knowledge, take it to your listing appointment, you know, and it's music to a seller's ear that you've already done this research. You know that it's going to be a pretty simple transaction, as opposed to if there was a month of stuff that you need to clear up with the county. That's really nice to know now, as opposed to once we already have a PSA, right?
Yeah, if you're if you're listing a property, you have to do this before you, it's gotta be early. You gotta have that preliminary title report uploaded in your supplements in the listing. We talked about that again at the last sales meeting, that you only get one first impression. That's it. So everything should be done. Like as soon as that listing's live, everything's been finished and done. Being able to take that preliminary title report with you to your appointment is seriously helpful. If you go there and you see on the title report that there's a wife and you're only meeting with the husband, and you're like, well, where's Mrs. Smith?
Right.
You know, this is, it says that, and then, then wait for the seller to tell you, but you're gonna cut off so many issues that come up. When you're right there at the appointment and you've got that data and stuff, you look definitely like an expert, like you should be, and professional, but it's also gonna just totally cut off these issues that come up. We've had, 3 fraud things last year on vacant land? It's happening more and more.
Right.
And one person basically did this, and they brought the report with them, and they asked, where's Mrs., right? And they're like, oh, she's in Florida, but the person had no answers. Yeah, they had no idea. Yeah, it was fraud.
So, yeah, let's avoid fraud. Really simple to do. Get this submitted. We will get back to you right away.
How long does it take to get preliminary title?
So we'll get back to you right away with some easy stuff like the trio.
Mhm.
It may take up to 48 hours to get all those documents back to you. It largely depends. I know we all hate that answer here in real estate, but it depends on, the complexity of the parcel or of the property. I've seen them come out in 2 hours. I've also seen them come out in 3 days. It really kind of depends. And with how easy we make it here at Access Home Closing, I don't think that there's much of an excuse for getting that in on time, right? You can do it Thursday, the week before. You can also do it Saturday night at 10 PM in your pajamas. Just come onto the website and do it. We'll get to it as soon as possible. You can call me, you can email me, you can text me. I'll do that as well. You can call our team with our 1-866 number, but this is the
Reminder.
easiest way to do it, is to do it yourself.
So let me ask you guys a question. How are you ordering your preliminary titles and trios right now? How do you do that? V, what do you do?
I have done one, a couple with, Access
Mhm.
and I do it as soon as I've talked to, someone that's probably gonna list.
Uh-huh.
And I call another, the other escrow companies that I've been working with.
So it's basically, you gotta call them and say, here's my address, here's the seller's name. So sometimes they're like, okay, what's more convenient? logging into a system and just putting it in and hitting it go and it's like done, or giving the message? Or what I mostly hear brokers say when if I ask that question is, oh, I email my person, you know? How many emails do the title reps get, you know?
I actually called Chase about both mine and, then Trish Leonard
Yeah,
contacted me back right away and I got the report back same day. It was like
Right on.
fast.
Yeah. Call me, email me, whatever works, do it yourself. We are kind of a hybrid company here. We've got this really cool website, but we've also got humans that like to talk to you on the phone. So whatever works for you, we will work with you.
And if you need a rush on it, you just put it on the notes.
That's right. Yeah, if you need a rush, like you drag your feet, like we're trying to get you to avoid, it's Wednesday night, you're going live tomorrow. That might be a little tough of an ask, but you know, request a rush and we will move it to the top of the list. As long as you don't abuse that functionality too often.
yeah.
No, but sometimes you get that weird,
Oh, yeah.
oh, okay, I wanna list my house, can you come tomorrow?
Yeah, the client that
You're
you've been
like-
trying to reach out to
Yeah.
for months and they finally get back to you. Understood. That's why we're happy to help. So you've got that pre-listing, you put it live, you priced it right, you took good photos, it sold in 2 days, over ask even. I've got this contract, now what do I do? Again, you can email that to me, you can email it to your closer, we'll get it going, but you can also come onto here, open escrow, open that existing pre-listing. Eric does this all the time.
It's amazing.
All you gotta do is click it from the drop-down menu. We know what file you're talking about, upload that PSA, answer a couple of questions about your seller or sellers. You've got an estate sale, husband, wife, 10 brothers and sisters, add them on. Super simple to add everyone. You've got teammates, you've got transaction coordinators, you've got co-listing brokers.
Yeah, that's,
You're a new broker, you want Eric to supervise your file, whatever it is, just throw them on there. It's easy to add people to the transactions. It's easy to send out emails. Tony was saying, I want to put this on a rush, please, right? Or the seller is out of town in
Yeah.
Italy for 2 weeks, right? They might be hard to get to.
mhm.
Don't call before 5 PM. They're one of those Microsoft guys that gets mad if you do, right? Whatever it is, you guys have been working with these people, you know their quirks. And that's how we open up escrow. Super simple.
That's gross. They have to get permission from the owner in order to get, yeah, to a full title.
I have, is that the case now?
Nope.
They have to call,
There's
Never
some
heard of
people that do that now.
no, they must have got hit with a fraud.
Oh, maybe.
They must have.
Okay. Any questions out there?
Zoom people, you guys been pretty quiet today. No questions?
Okay, let me leave you with one thing. Back to farming, lead generation, getting your leads. We should all be, you know, sending those just listed postcards, those just sold postcards. Those are the layups that I was talking about. Those are easy. When we're talking about getting, you know, a list of 300 next sellers or something, that's a little more complicated. But when we have a listing or we have an open house, that is like liquid gold right there. Let's do that. So if I have a listing at 33105 42nd and Federal Way, I'll just jump right there. Typically, you know, you're gonna call the title company and you'll say, hey, I have a listing. They say, congrats. I want to send out 50 postcards. They say, all right, I'll get that over to you right away. All they're doing is dropping a pin on your house and they are finding the 50 closest people, or 100 or 200, whatever it is. So in this circle, that's a half mile from my listing, how many houses are there? 900 houses in that little circle right here. So what's the title company doing? They're shrinking it up and they're saying, all right, no problem. You wanted 50, here you go. All these 50 people, they clearly know that there's an open house because you put 500 signs out on the road, leading them with balloons directly to that open house.
Yeah.
We invited them to the open house early, right? Why do they need an extra postcard on top of it? As opposed to if we expand that search out about a mile or so. Let's go next. Let's figure out how many hundreds of people there are, thousands even. 4,900 properties down there that are within a mile of my open house. Way too many people to contact, but we're talking about those people that maybe have lived there right around the
9.
average. So that there's a nationwide average, Eric just said, it's 10
10.
years. That's different towards Dash Point State Park. It's different up on the hill, it's different down on the beach, it's different every single place we go. So let's use that hyperlocal data. When we identify those next sellers, we find people who have lived in that house for plus or minus 1 year from the average in that area that we're searching. So if the average in this area is different than the nationwide average, let's say it's 18 years, we'll identify those people who have lived there from 17 to 19. It's very hyperlocal to exactly where these people live. So as opposed to 4,900, we've got 166.
That's gold.
That's doable. So let's find those next sellers. They're all interviewing you. They're getting an email from Zillow saying, hey, there's an open house nearby. They look at the photos, they look at the listing. Maybe they even stop by your open house and you don't know who they are, right? It's because they're taking a look at the house that's in their neighborhood and they're interviewing that broker who's selling that house. They show up in sweatpants and their hair's not done. They're not going to use that broker, right? You just lost a really hot client and you didn't even know it. So let's get in front of these people, send out a text, invite them to the open house early. And it's really not much effort. It's a better use of our 50 or 100 people than just blasting it out there. Okay? That's my spiel. I've talked a lot. So any questions, I'm happy to get with you about that. Bookwithchase.com. Give me a call. I'll send you an email to follow up. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chase, for coming in today and showing that off. I will say one thing that I absolutely love about Access closing is the home closing, is the fact that your SMS technology is hands down the best I've seen from any company. You guys can't even beat the text on like the updates of what's happening in the file. Like buyer just signed, get a text. I'll get a phone call like within like a few minutes after the text, and they're like, the buyer's just completed the signing. Literally, they're walking out the door now. And I'm like, oh, I already got the text.
Yeah. What my favorite part of my job is at the end of transactions, I get to call people and congratulate them, on another deal. They got a huge check coming their way, right? It's a good day. Let's go celebrate. I call them, as soon as it records with the county. I'm watching my email like a hawk. I call them right away. And they say, I bet you're calling because the property just recorded, right? You want to tell me congratulations. And they're teasing me. Yes, that is what I wanted to say, but thanks for spoiling my surprise. I've never beaten the system. I'm trying as hard as I can. They always get notified before I can do it. So
yeah, and that's on everything. The earnest money gets deposited. It's every single step in the system. And you can always go back to the system and see like where the deal is in the transaction, like what stage they're at. Even signing appointments have been scheduled. The title's been reviewed. It's like,
It's timestamped.
oh, I know, it's times, and it's amazing.
Is it a portal?
yeah, so here on the screen here is our portal here. So if you've got all your transactions, this
Yeah.
person's got 6, you can see the milestones down at the bottom.
Where they're at.
Where they're at. So if we look at the list here, they're in
Yeah.
the signing portion, which is pretty awesome. Similar to SkySlope, we've got that activity log. So anytime anyone does anything, we'll show it right here.
Mhm.
You've got this big ugly red badge up here, just like on your social media and stuff. You can't help but click that, right? You're gonna get a text with each one of these things, an email with each one of these things, and you can turn texts or emails off. We just highly recommend you have them both on. It's all good news when things are done, so let's be aware of where that is. So this one, settlement statement's ready for you to complete. Let's jump right into the to-do. It's gonna take 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Here's the file. This is just a little demo here, but you can view that a lot easier on the platform. Pretend that this PDF loaded up nice and quick. Everything looks good. Let's acknowledge it. There's no need to print out that document, sign it, scan it, send it back in. You send it to the wrong email address, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all done.
it just makes it so simple and easy, and I just love how it's all in one place. That, I don't know, to me, it's like, that's been my favorite thing.
Very helpful. And we're not trying to put you in a box of only using the website, right? We're hybrid. This is just a really good option for you to come on and be able to see everything in perpetuity. These documents will live here forever, just like SkySlope. So just, if you want a little bit more control, I know some of you are control freaks out there as real estate agents. Nobody's a control freak in real estate, right?
Uh-huh.
Really easy way to see exactly where everything is at, who needs to perform, who's yet to do that one thing, who already did it, so on and so forth.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much, Chase, for coming down and help showing off the Access Home tools and also how to use the systems. And I would definitely go to bookwithchase.com so you can get a one-on-one. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys making. Thank you. Have a good one.
When you